Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really powerful framework for making smarter decisions on pretty much any project. It's called value management, and trust me, it can totally change how you approach your goals.
Let's kick things off with this quote from the management guru Peter Drucker because it just hits the nail on the head. There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. This is what value management is all about, making sure we're not just busy, but busy doing the right things.
We've all been there, right? You see a project that finishes on time, it's on budget, but it completely misses what people actually needed. So let's unpack why that happens so often and what the real cost is when we get the why wrong. Okay, so when we plan a big project, say a new office building, our attention usually gets glued to that initial construction cost. But here's the thing, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real long-term costs of just operating the building, and especially running the business inside it, can completely dwarf that upfront price tag. It's not even close.
So that brings up a really critical question, doesn't it? If we want to create real, lasting value and actually drive down those massive long-term costs, where should we be putting our attention? And here is the gut punch. This is the relationship we almost always get wrong. Right at the very beginning of a project, when we're just spitballing ideas and designing, our power to add value is massive, and the cost of making a change is tiny. But as we move along, that flips completely. Our potential to add value drops like a rock, while the cost to change anything goes through the roof. Fixing something at the end isn't just hard. It is literally the most expensive mistake you can make.
Okay, so how do we fix this? Well, the answer is a really simple but profound mental shift. It's the absolute core of value management, and it's all about changing the question we ask ourselves from the very beginning. See, what we usually do is get laser focused on the output. The actual physical thing we're creating. Value management flips that on its head. It forces us to zoom out and define the function. We stop asking, what is it, and we start asking, what does it need to do? It's such a subtle switch, but it is a total game changer. It's about outcomes, not just outputs.
Here, let me give you a super simple example. The output is a house. But what is its primary function? Well, it's to provide safety and protection. As soon as you start thinking about the function, you open up all these new, creative ways to get to that goal. Solutions you would have totally missed if you were just thinking about building a house.
So, let's put some official terms on this. When we say value, we're not just talking about being cheap. No way. It's all about getting the most benefit for the resources you put in. And the key to unlocking all that value is defining the function, which is just a clear, simple way of saying what something does. It's always a verb and a noun, like contains liquid or supports weight. Simple, right?
Okay, so theory is great, but how does this actually work in the real world? Let's get into the playbook. All right, picture this. A town wants to build a new park. They ask everyone what they want. They get this huge wish list of features. But of course, the total cost is way over budget. Now, what's the first instinct here? Yep, you just start chopping things off the list.
But instead of just cutting, they focused on function. The function of the athletic field was to provide a space for sports. Could they do that another way? Yeah. They asked the local teams to help with maintenance. Boom! Cost goes down, function stays the same. The play structure's function was to entertain children. By switching materials, they realized they could build a much bigger structure for the same cost. They got more function for the same money. Now that's value.
And this kind of breakthrough isn't just random luck or brainstorming. It's a structured process, often called a VAMP, or a value measurement process. It starts by defining those core functions, the value drivers. Then, and this is so important, you work with everyone involved to weigh how important each one is. From there, you can measure your options and calculate a value index to see, objectively, which ideas are giving you the most bang for your buck.
So let's move to the final, and you could argue the most critical piece of this whole puzzle. How do you make these tough trade-offs and decisions without it turning into a massive fight? How do you get everyone on board?
The secret is something called fair process. And the research on this is really clear. People are much more willing to accept a decision, even a decision they don't personally love, if they believe the process was fair. This all rests on 3 pillars. First, engagement. You have to genuinely involve people and ask for their input. Second, explanation. You have to clarify the thinking behind the final call. And third, expectation clarity. You need to be crystal clear about what the decision means for everyone involved.
Now, it's also vital to understand what fair process is not. This isn't about trying to get everyone to agree on everything. It's not about watering down good ideas with weak compromises just to make everyone a little bit happy. And it is absolutely not a democracy. The leader still makes the final decision. The whole point of the process is to make sure the best ideas win, regardless of who they came from.
So here is the big idea to take with you. When you shift your focus from form, from what you're making, to function, what that thing truly needs to do, you unlock better, more innovative solutions. You avoid those painful, costly mistakes, and you get everyone pulling in the same direction. So the question I'll leave you with is this. In your next project, how are you going to focus on function instead of just form?